you right now, man. Right from the jump, baby.
This is where you find out what you're made of. That is what Victor Wembanyama said post-game after Game 3 on Friday.
Everybody on their feet, ready for Game 4. He has come out and taken reins of this Game 4. Holmgren to the basket. Rimby blocked him. Wembanyama, I think he's going to go. I think he's going to go from midcourt. Resounding response from San Antonio in Game 4. Best of 7, now a best of 3. To see who's the champion in the West.
The truth is that we had never been in this kind of situation before. It was our first deficit in a playoff series, and we just responded. It was nothing amazing. It wasn't magic. We just did what we needed to do.
American Airlines, I'm talking to you. Please, please have the TVs working on this flight to LA.
Look at you, peer pressure.
We have not seen a Western Finals tied at 2 games apiece in 8 years. Since the Warriors and Rockets, they were all knotted up in that series that Golden State went on to win in 7 games. So let's go out to Paycom Center now and check in with our reporters, Tim McMahon covering Oklahoma City, Michael C. Wright covering the San Antonio Spurs for us. Tim, I'm going to start with you. We know that there's no A.J. Mitchell here. We were chatting with Shams earlier, and he said that Jalen Williams is questionable for this game. As we march closer to tip-off, what do we know?
Howdy, Malika. Look, Jalen Williams has been questionable for the last couple games, was ruled out 45 minutes before tip-off. They are now calling it injury management with a hamstring strain and not soreness. But what we know is, with or without Jalen Williams, they cannot let the Spurs punch them in the face right after the opening tip. And that's the description that SGA gave. They punched us in the face early. They're able to respond in Game 3, not in Game 4. And look, when you're talking about the Spurs overwhelming OKC with physicality, that really starts with Stephon Castle on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai has to be able to be the aggressor in that matchup, which absolutely was not the case in Game 4. And then they've got to figure out a way to get Chet Holmgren going. He has been a non-factor offensively in this series. 7.5-foot alien has a little bit to do with that. Chet was 37 of 38 in the restricted area in the first 2 series, 11 of 21 so far in the restricted area in this series. Victor Wembanyama is going to be on the floor. They've got to figure out a way to get some sort of offensive production from Chet Holmgren under those circumstances.
Yeah, so what you're saying is in Game 5 for Oklahoma City, this is where the Stars, they need to show out, even though they may be a little bit shorthanded in this one. On the Spurs side of all of this, Michael, someone not on the injury report for this Game 5, De'Aaron Fox. Even though we saw him miss Game 1, miss Game 2 of this series, is he still dealing with those sort of knick-knack injuries? How's he feeling?
Well, Malika, the kid is actually playing on a leg and a half, basically. You know, like you said, he missed games 1 and 2. And the funny thing is he said, I still feel the same way I felt when I came into this series. And, well, if you felt that way, you felt not well enough to play because he didn't play in games 1 and 2. But De'Aaron understands how much he means to this team. Look, in the 2 games that he missed, the San Antonio Spurs were committing an average of 22 turnovers per game. And they were giving up 27.5 points off those turnovers. Then when he comes back for games 3 and 4, the turnovers dropped to 16. Well, actually 14, and the points dropped to 16. So that's almost 11 points, or that is 11 points, and that's a big difference when you're talking about a hotly contested series like this one with 2 evenly matched teams. The funny thing is after Game 4, he actually had a game-high 10 rebounds, and he said, you know, I don't even know how many of those rebounds I actually jumped for. He said there was one point in the game where associate head coach Sean Sweeney was imploring him to use his instincts to get to a rebound. He said, hey, man, my instincts got me there, but the ankle wouldn't let me jump up to go get it. So he's a very important part, and he's playing hurt, but he's fighting his way through it.
You know what? When you talk to players around the league at this point in the postseason, very rarely are you going to come across a guy who says, you know what, this is the time I feel my absolute best. I feel totally healthy and great. De'Aaron Fox knows how important he is to this San Antonio team. And to that point, you have an excellent story up right now, Michael, on ESPN.com about how he became the Spurs closer. I encourage everyone to check that out in the next break here. Gentlemen, thank you. Enjoy tonight's game. We keep using the word pivotal, all important for this Game 5. Here's the numbers behind that. Because in terms of NBA NBA history, teams who win Game 5 in a best-of-7 series that's all tied up at 2 games apiece, they go on to win the series 82% of the time. So earlier today, the reigning 6th man of the year, Kelton Johnson, he spoke about the importance of tonight's game.
Yeah, this is the biggest game of the season right here tonight. This game is important. It's 2-2. And, you know, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be tough. But I feel like we built for the moment, and we built for these times. And I feel like we'll show that tonight.
Certainly San Antonio feels like they're coming into this one with momentum. We heard Tim talk about how important Chet Holmgren is.
Yeah.
Danny, the last couple of days I've been hearing you say it needs to be Chet time.
Yeah, I mean, he's all NBA guy, right? We talk about Jalen Duren. He's the same. Like, there's no excuse. This is playoff time. You cannot let your production go down that much. So for him, he just has to be active too. Like I talked about Wemby. He is very much similar to a Wemby. He's not the same character or same stature of Wemby, but he's 7'2", can space the floor, knock down threes, move it out the ball, see when your guy goes to double, space the floor some, give your team an opportunity, get to the offensive glass. You got to go and be active. So these are the small things that he can make adjustments to. Staying in the dunker, work in the dunker area. These are the minutes you also got to take advantage of. Wemby's off the floor. You got Cornette. So when you see Shea going to the basket, follow behind him. Put yourself in position. Make these finishes at the rim. Dunk the ball. These are small things that he can do, get himself going. Obviously, knocking down a 3 or 2 would help. But he has to be more active. He has to be more aggressive, and he has to look for his shot and help SGA, because a lot is on SGA and his playmaking. Chet has to be the guy.
And that's really, Wendy, what it comes down to. They have to figure out a way to relieve some of this pressure on SGA.
Yeah, they've got to have a bit of a different offensive plan. You know, there are some other guards that they have who can be creators. Cason Wallace had performances this year when A.J. Mitchell and Jalen Williams were out where he filled this exact role. Okay, it wasn't 2-2 in the finals, but or in the conference finals, but that's why you have those games and do that. And then you also need to look at potentially other guys on their roster who can handle the ball a little bit, including Alex Caruso. You want to be able to generate a couple of easy baskets, easy looks that can take some pressure off of Chet, and pressure off of Shea and pressure off of Chet.
One thing I'm excited about these Spurs is they're not supposed to be here. This is supposed to be a learning experience, right? They haven't been in the playoffs since 2019, and the Spurs on their jersey is what is supposed to be intimidating, not them. But talking to R.C. Buford before the series started, he was like, why not us now? And this team is in a position, even as young as they are, even though they haven't taken any lumps and Wemby hasn't been punched in the playoffs, to get to the finals and play the Knicks.
I was going to say, don't tell Wemby that they weren't expected to be here, because I think Victor has had every expectation. I could not be more excited for this game. It's going to bring the heat, so I guess it's time for heat check as we stay in this one. Danny, start us off here. It's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, I mean, to start the game, it's always been Wemby for me, and certain guys like Jared McCain and others. I got Wemby over 14.5 rebounds. When he's active, and this is a pivotal game I expect him to be, he's demonstrative, getting his own rebounds and putbacks. He's getting 10, 12 plus for his rebounds. We need a role player night. I know we saw Kelton Johnson talk, but we need him to step up. But Julian Champagne's my guy. I think he needs 2 or 3 more threes made. And if he does that, it'll open up the floor for these other guys. And on the other side of it, they're going to double check. They're going to double SGA, right? So he's got to find a way to facilitate, and these guys got to make more shots. So if SGA is aggressive like I know he is, he's going to score, but he's going to need his teammates to help him. So he's going to facilitate. He's going to find those guys. I have him over 8 assists for tonight's game as well.
You know it's serious when Danny starts saying we about San Antonio. $10 is going to win you 34 big ones in this one. On DraftKings Sportsbook, all customers can get a profit boost every day of the NBA playoffs. Download the app. Use the promo code SCREEN when you sign up. Coming up next here on NBA Today, the skies, they are